Now I have the pleasure of introducing to you the president of Microbank Inc., founder of New York Staffing Services, which is located in the heart of the financial district, talk show host, author, and vice chair of the Bronx Community College Foundation Board. Please help me welcome Michael Robinson.
Thanks, Caroline. Isn't she amazing? We are so very proud of her. On behalf of the board of directors of the Bronx Community College Foundation, I am the treasurer and I'm also the assistant chair. Olga, you're doing an amazing job, by the way. Fantastic. So we're going to do things a little differently right now. We are going to interview a very special guest. So give us a moment. We're going to set up the stage and we're having a live interview with one of President Barack Obama's social secretary. She's with us today. So give us a moment and we'll set it up. We'll have an interview with her about her journey through community college and her project through internships, how she succeeded, and what you can do in terms of her inspiration. So we'll be right back, okay? Hello, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? Hello, hello. I know you are enjoying a delicious filet mignon and amazing fish and great conversation. At least I hope you are. But we are going to turn to the entertainment portion of our evening.
I'm gonna dance.
So can I have your attention, please? So I'm Michael Robinson, as I mentioned earlier. I think I remembered introducing myself. I am the treasurer and vice chair of the board of the BCCF, and I'm very honored to have with me today someone who is a special guest to our evening. Hello, can I have your attention? I'll wait until everybody is quiet. I wouldn't say a word. Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention to this minute detail. So, like I said, we're very honored to have with us a very special guest. And joining us is Deesha Dyer.
Yeah.
Deesha is a public speaker. She's a community leader. She is a creative event and strategic consultant and also served as the White House Social Secretary for President Obama from 2015 to 2017. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Deesha Dyer.
Hello, hello, hello. It's great to be here.
So thank you for being with us today.
Yeah.
I know that you and I talked before this all began. Give us a little bit of background about your background and your journey growing up as a young lady.
So first, thank you for having me here. I'm so happy to be here, and I just thank the whole staff and the Bronx Community College for having me. I am a community college graduate, Community College of Philadelphia. I graduated community college while I was working for President Obama in the White House. And so a quick background on my community college story, which I think is the most interesting part of the story, is I went to college when I was 17, decided that college wasn't for me, and then around 27 or 28, I decided to go back to college. No college would accept me except Community College of Philadelphia. Around that time, I started classes up there to be elementary education. Then I started to hang around kids and realized that wasn't for me. And then I went for nursing, and then I went to a hospital to do my training and realized that also wasn't for me. And so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I really wanted to go to school. And then this man around 2008 named Barack H. Obama appeared, and he's running for president. And I was like, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know him. I didn't know any politics. but I was really, really loving what Barack Obama was saying, what he represented, who he was. And I said, I'm going to work for this man someday. But at that point, I was 30 years old. I had 6 credits of community college. I was a secretary. I was a hip-hop writer, a hip-hop dancer in Philadelphia. I had no connections at all. Lo and behold, November 4th, the man won the presidency. And I thought to myself, I still am probably not going to ever work for him. I mean, like, that's crazy. Who do I know there? And because I had mentored young girls all of my life, I was on a listserv for stuff for young women. And one of those, thanks guys, and one of those listservs sent me an application for a White House internship. And they said, send this to the young girls. Barack Obama administration at the White House is looking for interns. And I was like, well, maybe I could be an intern, but I'm 31 years old. Like, I don't think I could be an intern. I don't even know what that is. It's unpaid. Like, I don't know if I can afford that. So I looked at the application, and I actually fit all the qualifications. There was no age. There was no certain college. There was no Ivy League. There was no anything. It said, you have to be in college and be a public servant and want to serve America. And I said, well, I want to do that. So the rest is a little bit of a history. I applied for the internship. I became an intern of Barack and Michelle Obama in September of 2009 with only 6 credits to my name for community college. After I was done being an intern for them, they called me back in 2010 and they said, we would love for you to come work at the White House full time. And I said, well, are you serious? I don't even have a college degree. And they said, well, you can continue to go to community college in Philadelphia, go home on the weekends, do your evening classes, and you can have a job here. So I moved to DC in 2010, started working for the White House, graduated in 2012 with my degree in women's studies from community college. So it took me a while, but I kind of had a great excuse. You know, I was working for the president, so I had a good excuse. It took me a couple of years. And I stayed until 2017. I was the last Obama employee to actually leave the building. I left after they did, after I put the Trumps and the Obamas in the car inauguration morning, and then I left. So my tenure ended in January 20th, 2017. So now I just talk about community college around the world and tell people how wonderful it was and how it was a ticket to me getting in the Obama administration.
So tell us what about the journey as an intern.
Yeah.
What was unique about that? What was most memorable for you?
Well, I was 31. You know, all the other interns were 19 and 20, and they had these navy blazers and, you know, and like their little button-ups, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Like, you know, I went to Target and got khaki pants because I was like, people wear khaki pants, don't they, at the White House, you know? And I got like a Ross, you know, Ross Dress for Less. They had a blazer. I bought one blazer, and I wore that my first day to the White House, and it was really intimidating because I was Deesha from Philadelphia. I didn't have these accreditations. I didn't know anybody, but I was like, here I am trying to figure it out, and it was unpaid. And so in order to pay for it, I had to figure out a way to live in DC. And I went on Craigslist, and I don't advise anybody to do this, but I went on Craigslist, and this couple was getting divorced, and they were raising money for their divorce and renting out one of their daughter's rooms. And I was like, it was $200 a month, and I was like, I'll do that. It was hell, but I survived. And right before I left for DC for the internship, my job that I actually had did a fundraiser for me I didn't know, and they raised $10,000.
Wow.
So I didn't have to work. Yeah, so it was an incredible journey, and I still can't believe that was my life. Yeah.
So how can we make internships, right, for students more accessible so that students can have money to pay and support themselves through the process? Because you started out in the administration not having any money to pay for, you know, transportation and that sort of thing. What would you advise community colleges and students to do to make this process a little easier?
I think first of all, I mean, people that don't offer paid internships, I don't even understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, you know, I don't know why we weren't paid, but it's kind of, especially if it's a big company, it's like you make all these profits, you have all these stocks, and you have all these things, and somehow you can't pay your interns minimum wage. So I think that's an issue, right? So I think that we all need to use our power to make sure that doesn't happen. Because students, especially students at community college, they're deterred from doing internships because they don't get paid and they don't have money, right? So I think it's up to us to use our collective power to encourage people to do that. And people, you know, community college and you all help students get through school, getting their tuition, getting all those things, their books, their housing. It's also not fair for this college to have to raise money for them to also do internships, right? I think that's not fair. So I think we need to use our collective power to reach out to some of these places that actually pay and maybe increase the internships for Bronx Community College students. Say, if you take 4, can you take 6 of them? Right. You know, can you take more of them? And it's a shame, it's weird how people also don't offer internships. It's like, well, why don't you just offer internships to some students? You know, it's very easy to do, it gives them experience, and it's also a way for them to get into the field in which they're interested in, and then maybe you can have them after they're done in college.
And
that's what I say.
You know, I owned a staffing firm before all of this, and one of the things that I noticed happening over and over again was students were coming into our organizations, and we were putting them in some of the major shakers and movers on Wall Street, and it opened up the door for them to get other jobs moving forward. So it's a win-win situation. If a company invests in interns and individuals looking for job opportunities to come in and sort of train them and inculcate them into their culture and then bring them in. It benefits the organizations moving forward. So it's a very good argument to put out there, right?
And you also want new people in your organization to keep it fresh and new and hip. Like, you don't want to be the organization that started in 1925 and it still looks like you're still in 1925. You know what I mean? Like, bring people along with you, and I think students bring a fresh perspective to that. Yeah.
My last question for you, what advice would you give to our young students that are listening today that would help them in their career path moving forward to succeed?
This is a tough question.
I know, but one advice. One? Advice, yes.
You know, I didn't do things the traditional way, and I don't regret that. But what I would say is always be yourself, even when it hurts, and even when no one else is standing with you. Because even when I went to the White House, and I was, you know, at a completely different field and different life, you know, it was my responsibility to welcome Pope Francis in 2015. And they said, well, it's your job to welcome Pope Francis. And I thought to myself, I have no idea what Catholics even do. You know what I mean? So I had to learn about all that. But then, you know, they put me in charge of the music, and I brought a black gospel choir there, and I brought hip hop performers for the Pope. And it's interesting because people are like, you did that? I'm like, I did that because that's who I am. And even though there's stuffy people who were like, you're doing this for the Pope Francis with Barack Obama, I'm like, I sure am. That's who I am, that's what I know, and that's what this country is. So I think that out of that, just always be yourself and know that the cookie cutter way of doing things only works but for so long. Your resume should be great. You went to school, it should be nice, but your personality is what people are interested in. I'm not interested that you could do Microsoft Word. I'm interested, what ideas can you bring to the table? That's what I'm interested in. So be yourself and bring your originality to the table, because I didn't go the cookie cutter way and it worked out perfectly fine for me. And just know that people know when you're being a carbon copy of somebody else. So don't be a carbon copy of somebody else. Be yourself and you'll find your way.
Perfect. Deesha Dyer, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Michael, for having me. It was fun. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get down?
Give another round of applause,
Thank you.
Deesha.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Of course.
Take your time. All right, we're not done here yet. You're going to see a little bit more of me. So Deesha Dyer is a perfect example of how internships can transform the lives of ambitious community college students. Earlier, you heard from SGA's President Carolina Valenzuela, who mentioned how her internship led to an amazing career opportunity. Tonight, we want to make sure that students who have the drive and ambition to jumpstart their careers can do so. As you learned earlier tonight, many BCC students come from households with extreme financial limitations. And as demonstrated tonight, we know that internship opportunities can completely change the trajectory of a student's life. We are thankful for the corporate partners that are able to provide students with paid internships, and we always are looking for more. But when small businesses, government agencies, or non-for-profits have opportunities for our students with no budget for a stipend, the decision can be devastating. The full or part-time jobs many students hold sustain them and often their family members. Accepting an unpaid internship, even when it can provide a tremendous leg up to a career, can cause huge financial hardships. Tonight, we want to put this to an end. This evening, we are asking you to partner with us to invest in our students by contributing to the Interns Equity Fund. The fund will provide $1,500 per student. Tonight, with the help of every individual in this room, we want to raise enough funding to support a minimum of 25 students during the upcoming academic year. And as treasurer of the BCC Foundation, I wholeheartedly support this because I put my time and effort into this foundation because I believe in our students. So I'm asking you to join us in this effort. With over 10,000 students attending BCC, we know this is a small starting point, but it means a lot. A minimum of 25 students can take advantage of an opportunity that can make a real difference.